Hey guys, good evening. It's Mayan and I'm here to make a quick tutorial on how to use the molds that I used for my most recent anniversary cake. I was able to make that cake in a span of a few hours because I used the aid of the silicone molds that I'm going to show you now. I had a request to make the set available for purchase and I sold a lot of it, so I wanted to make sure that the people who are going to get them, probably tomorrow, will be able to use them properly. So, I apologize, I'm really not feeling good tonight, so that accounts for my horrible voice. But I feel so responsible for the things that I sell, and I want to make sure that when they get it, they'll be able to use it. And I have a few minutes to spare, and I think I can survive tonight. All right, so what I'm trying to do here is trying to fill the mold with black gum paste, and this type of mold can give you two results. One is a filled, detailed one, as you can see, and let me see if that's, there you go, see that, and the other one is a more detailed one, which is harder, kind of harder to achieve and tricky to do, but we're going to attempt to do that in a bit. Alright, so for this one, it's actually very easy. Just pop it in and pop it out, literally. And this look can actually still work depending on how to use it. You don't always have to try to take everything out to achieve the other lacy look, because if you're going to stage it in a way, you're going to get the same look. So pop it in, pop it out, easy as that. So when I use this on a cake, I actually, you can use it like this, but when I used it, I actually cut it in half and put it on the side of the cake. I used it on the cake this way. Alright, so we got to remember that one. And this one, I'm going to cross my fingers and hope it comes out good. So tricky. We're going to attempt to get the other look, and I use gum paste for this just because fondant, it's probably going to kill me if I try fondant, just because the pattern itself is so intricate. That's hard to get out. Right. So what I try to do is just slice it all the way around and try, if you can see that one. Alright, don't worry so much about the excess, believe me. That's it looks horrible, but it's very easy to take it out. Now what happens if you have a gap like that? Just fill it back in. So actually another way to do it is to actually use your fingers and fill it in one by one, but that's going to take a while to do. But if you're having some problems doing it this way, then that's another way to do it. Just slice away all the excess using your palette knife or your cutter. For me, I'd rather use the palette knife because a cutter would potentially nick your mold. You don't want to do that. Okay. And if you use gum paste, you can literally pop this out after I'm done. Alright. Now all the extra stuff in there, use your finger to just rub them in the proper place. That's why I told you, even if you took some of it out, when you fill it with a bit of gum paste, it all just goes back in together as one. So what we're going to try to do now is take it out. You can put this in the fridge for a minute, but you don't want it to be too hard, because if it becomes too hard, it will be very hard to take it out because it will break. And I've tried that too. So you can see part of it is popping out, and you can just slide it out. Ta-da! Alright, now how can we use these two patterns is what I'm going to show you in a bit. So another mold that I have along with the set is this one, and it's the same process. You can overfill it, or what I also want to do is just use a very little of it. And fill it just right. And you can do this for the people without patience, like me. Because this is relatively small, it's much easier to trim. Just use your palette knife and just trim on the excess carefully. You know what happens when it sticks to your finger? Use shortening and just put it back. At first I stressed out so much about the whole thing not being perfect, but you get over it, you know. after a lot of failed attempts, you gotta tell yourself you just gotta figure out a way to do it. And I'm sure some of you guys are gonna figure out your own ways to do that, like that. I'm not gonna kill myself because it's not perfectly filled. And remember, if you wait a bit, you could easily slice it out. But if you're in a hurry and you're impatient and you just want to do it and pop it out, then do as I do. Slice it, fill it, press it in. Remember, it doesn't matter even if it's not perfect. Because this one has been sitting there for a while, and this one we just did like a minute and a half ago. And you could still pop it out. Comes out pretty much the same. Alright, so the next video I'm going to show you is what the effect's going to be when we put it on cake. So watch out for that. Alright, so this is what it looks like on the side of a cake. So I covered a dummy, and let me show you. I really apologize for my horrendous voice. Alright, I'm just trying to finish this tutorial as soon as possible and then I can sleep. Alright, so I put in the big mold in the middle, and two of the smaller ones and half of the circle one that we just did. Now what I wanted to point out when I'm doing this is that this is this half of what we did earlier, and I just put it in there. Although it took a while to make this, there's no point in taking a long time to make this and putting it there if it's the same effect. Alright, so what we're trying to get away with when we use this is the illusion that we actually have the more detailed part, but in fact we don't. And the way we can achieve that is if we use the same color as the background and then paint over all the small details. And then if you're going to do this, remember that we are trying to mimic the appearance of the scrolls and the grooves. So try to paint over all these inner parts where if you can imagine what the medallion looks like, try to imagine, try to paint over those parts so it will pop out and become three-dimensional. Don't just paint on the surface because it's going to look very flat. So try to paint on the inner parts over there, inner part over here, and that will make it look deeper. And all that without actually having to go through the pains of trying to get such an intricate pattern out of your mold. However, if you need to, then you know how. And what I'm going to try to do now is finish this part, and I'm going to show you later the effect of just using that as an illusion, and also the effect of, or when to actually go through the pains of doing this, and what the effect will be. Alright, be back in a bit. Alright guys, so I'm almost finished. I actually just put 2 of each, and I'm almost done with the last one. I got asked so many times what did I use. I use Americolor Silver Sheen Airbrush Color, 3 drops for every time I put it on this painter's palette. And I also use Luster Dust, a combination of New Silver from GSA, and Silver Highlighter Dust, just a bit, until you get into a nice painting consistency. I have no preference for what kind of brush I use. I'm cheap, whatever works, whatever you got there. And that's pretty much it. You can use vodka, you don't have to. It hastens the drying time, but airbrush color is actually pretty good. It's actually thicker than your regular extracts, so it holds the metallic color better, especially for this purpose. And dries pretty decent. You're not going to touch it anyway. So let's step back and take a look at what the effect is so far. Good, right? Now for the brooch part, more. All right. For the brooch part, right now you really can't see it because it's black against black. And again, what I'm trying to convey in this tutorial is that we work with illusions. So I'm going to highlight all the metal part, and you can see what a shaky hands I got. Gosh. I'm actually on NyQuil right now. So it's 1:30 in the morning and I'm on NyQuil. I'm almost guessing tomorrow I wouldn't know half of what I said in this tutorial. Anyway, I'm kind of stubborn this way because I wanted to finish this before I clean up, because I'm going to have it's Thanksgiving, so I gotta clean up. I'm going to put all my toys away. Anyway, what you're going to avoid will be all the depressions, and you're just going to highlight all the supposed metal parts and the sides, not just the front or the top, but also the sides, because you have to think in 3D, right? So even the sides here, you would want to paint. Even the sides here. So even if it's really subtle, but the moment you do that, it just makes the whole thing three-dimensional. So take the time to actually do all the tiny details and all the small crevices, and then later on I'm going to show you the finished product. Alright, so we are now at the finishing touches, and you can see, I think now you could very clearly see what I'm talking about when I was trying to tell you earlier that the main point in this whole tutorial was using your molds and creating this type of illusion that it's actually metal. And it works because you're using the same tone inside your mold as the background or the cake. Now earlier I tried to use isomalt. Didn't work out that well, but you can use any type of isomalt in the middle or color it differently. But right now I think I'm just going to leave it as it is and just work on all the other details. I like the look that it's giving me right now. It's kind of not really like it. Alright, and then I'm going to show you real quick what it's going to look like if you're going to use all the details on its own. This one, if you took out all the excess and you're going to put it on top, on your cake, then that would be the effect. And it's going to look a lot better if it's a very contrasting color like black and white or something that's really going to pop and you don't have to paint on it anymore, and that would work. I actually wanted to do one more, but anyway, you get the idea. You don't have to paint on it, you just put it on there and it immediately pops. And another thing that you can do is, I'm not a cupcake person, but I just gave it a shot. You can use it on top of a cupcake. Not a perfect cupcake, but you get the idea. Or you could use a plain circle and then put a dome. Wait, give me a second. Like this one. I wasn't able to complete it, but you can put this, you see that, this dome on top of a cupcake, and it's actually the exact size, so you may want to experiment on that. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope those who purchased the set from me are going to enjoy using it. Thank you so much, guys, for all your support and help, and I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.